Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you're new here. Got my little sidekick here today, and we're going to talk about making Easter basket bows. So you're going to need 2 yards of fabric. I have made three of these so far, and I used 2 yards of fabric by 14 inches wide. Okay, so I have my fabric here, my 2 yards. I'm going to find the fold.
Welcome back to our channel. Say that, Mom. Hello.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our channel.
So I have my 2 yards of fabric and it's folded in half. And I like to fold it again. So here's the fold. Right, here's the width of the fabric, the selvage.
I shared it.
So I fold it again, and then from where you have your folded side is where you're going to cut 7 inches. Now you can, if you don't have a folded side, you can do your whole 14 inches and then fold it in half and iron it. Or you can do 7. I made the mistake and I cut 7 and 7. So then I had to just sew all around the edges instead of just on 3 sides. 7 inches over, and I will, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so I can get 3 bows out of 2 yards of fabric by width of fabric.
Yeah.
So we have our ends here, and I'm going to put our ends like this. Basically, I just folded it in half, and then I'm going to measure. I'm going to make the tail.
Okay.
The tails for the bows. I like to cut mine at an angle, a straight angle. And I'm going to measure 4.5 inches up from the bottom.
From bottom.
And I will cut across here. 1, 2, 3, 4.5.
1, 2, 3, 4 and a half.
And I'll cut that, and that will be my angled
Can I cut
tails.
these?
You can. So if you have an embroidery machine,
This one's a hard one.
so I measured up from the corner on the opposite side. I measured up, I guess, on the open side. So this side is my folded side, and I measured up 4.5 inches, and then I cut that on the diagonal from the bottom corner. If you have an embroidery machine, this would be a good time to embroider the tail with the name on it, like this. I suggest the placement be a little lower. This was my test sash. I like to place the name 3 inches from the middle of the tail, 3 inches up, and then that's where the end of the name is. So the Y for Lucy would be right here. So measure 3 inches up from the bottom of the tail, and that's where the edge of your name would be.
Me?
That way when it lays on the basket, you can see it a little bit better. When you when you wrap your bow, this kind of gets lost. So we are going to take this, we're going to embroider it, and then we're going to turn it inside out, right sides out. This kind of fabric, it doesn't really have a wrong or a right side. Basically, you're going to fold it and then you're going to sew a 1/2 inch all along the edge. So your finished bow will be 6.5 inches wide by 2 yards long. So let's go to the sewing machine. So after you embroider your name on it, before you go to the sewing machine, you're going to find the middle of your sash. Make sure that the wrong sides or the right sides of the fabric are together. You're going to find the middle of your sash, and that's where you're going to pin your opening. And I do about 5-6 inches, just enough to get my hand in there. And that way, when I go to sew, I know where to stop. So when I go to my sewing machine, I start from a corner of the tail and I sew a 1/2 inch all the way in, down, back stitch over my hole, and then I pick up again and sew down the other side. And I sew all the way down 1/2 inch and back here. And then when you're done sewing this piece of it, you're going to clip your corners closely so that when you turn your sash, when you turn your bow, it'll be nice and clean, sharp corners. And I do my opening here. I do my opening here in the middle because I want my tail ends to look nice and sharp and clean. And when you sew up your hole on the outside, you're going to have, you know, a little stitch that it will be seen. But once you tie your bow up around the basket, you're not going to see that. So that's why I like to hide that visible seam there as opposed to down on one of the sides of the tails. Just looks cleaner. Okay, now that you have all of your edges sewn, you are going to clip your corners. Find my scissors. Okay, we're gonna clip this close. Now you go and find where you made your little hole and you turn it. I like to use an Apple pencil as my corner pusher outer. Then we do the other other side. Nice sharp points. Now we're going to stitch up this little edge right here, and then we'll be done. Okay. Okay. I'm going to show you how I wrap it around my basket. So I find the middle and I tie a knot. Make it really tight so it doesn't move. I like to do my bows like this. Have one in one hand and fold up the other in the other hand and wrap it. And I kind of play around with it while I'm pulling it through. Might need to adjust the tails. And there you go. Okay guys, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make an Easter basket bow, and I hope you will like, comment, subscribe, and follow me along for the next time.